Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and welcome to Monday. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. It was, I'm not afraid to say, it was hot this weekend. High 80s. I think yesterday maybe even got into the 90s. Played a great round of golf this weekend. You know, golf's one of those weird sports because it's just you, the ball, and the club. And you really can't blame anybody but yourself, except for me. I blame everything but me. But I actually hit the ball well. Unfortunately, I haven't learned how to putt. I putt a lot like Happy Gilmore. So I didn't score well, but I didn't feel bad about it because I hit the ball really well. I stepped up on my CBD. We got the 3,000 milligram tincture in, so I made the switch. Because I'm a bigger guy, and I use the word bigger instead of fat because it just sounds better to me. I'm a bigger guy, so I need a little more power in my CBD, and I will tell you, there's definitely a difference. And a lot of people have been responding about how it helps them sleep at night, and I normally don't take it at night. I took it last night. Yeah, I think I made it about 5 minutes, and out to Nine Land I went. But I'm all recharged. I'm ready to go. Make sure you go out to 1360 KHNC, hit the shop button. It all goes to supporting the network. We had a great open house Friday. I was talking to Jason this weekend. Had a lot of people there, a lot of people really excited about what's going on. If you go out to the 1360 website, hit the schedule button. I know it's kind of weird, but this is just how it is for right now. Got to hit the schedule button, and then on that page, you'll see all the upcoming events. The Eat Beef, the beef cookout coming in a couple of weeks. March the 20th, and all the details are out there. So make sure you keep apprised of everything we're doing at the station. I know Jason and Brian, they got so many things planned. I can't even keep up with it all. But thank you very much to all the people that made it to the event this last Friday. I know Jason said it was just fantastic, and we're going to do a lot more of those as well. But today, I've got a special guest in studio today. He's a very, very good friend of mine. And it was so funny is he started texting me at about 5 o'clock this morning. And again, he knows that who's going to be up at 5 a.m. I know Joe's going to be up. So started texting me. He's an educator. His school pretty much never closed. And I shouldn't say never. I think they closed for a few weeks when every school closed. But they have been open the whole time. He's on spring break, so he's bored. So I said, hey, come on in, do a show with us. Let us know your thoughts. He's one of those guys. He's a very handy individual. He's a guy that sees a fallen tree on the side of the road and gets excited about it. You know, he will go home, grab his chainsaw, come back and hack the tree up and throw it in the back of his vehicle and then make stuff out of it. We're trying to get him to do a podcast. We want to call it Dan the Man, where he teaches all of us how to be men, because he can fix anything. He can make anything. He took, you know, the old cordless phones. You know, before we all had cell phones, you know, you had the cordless phone and you walked around the house with your landline. You know, I grew up, remember the old the ones that you had the rotary dial and you had the phone cord. And when a girl called the house, you stretched it out as far as you could, you know, so you could go into the bathroom and try to shut the door, and your brothers would be picking it up, trying to listen into your conversation, you know. Well, then the cordless phone, he's taken these cordless phones and he's turned them into blowtorch lighters. Now, why would you need this? Nobody knows. I mean, it really serves no purpose, but yet he's done it. He also spends his summers in the wilderness. He's one of those wilderness guys, and I'm excited to have him here. Dan, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. Yes.
Closer to the mic.
Okay, gotcha.
There
yes,
you go.
there I am. First time on the radio here, so yeah. Thank you for having me today, Joe. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate. Hey, listen, you were bored, so I helped fix it. But I figured our listeners would get a kick out of it when we come back. I want your opinion about the schools, the kids. Is this really been a true lost year? What do you think about everything that's happened and what's the future holds educationally? And then I want to get into it. I do. I want to get into we call him Sasquatch because he's 6'8". Okay, just so you know, Dan he's a tall guy. He's not a big guy because he's not fat, but he is. He's very woodsy, and he grew up fairly close to Allentown, Pennsylvania. So by default, right, we like him. We like him a lot. So we'll get to all of that when we get done here. And then we may talk a little bit, everyone, by the way, the Senate passed the stimulus, not the 1.9 million, not the 1.9 billion, no, the 1.9 trillion. They made some changes, so it's got to go back to the House. They're going to pass it. And I think by Wednesday, get ready. I guess a lot more people are going to get a lot more checks coming into the mail. And, of course, the thing that we all know, let the pork projects begin. I wonder how long it'll be until they tell us how they're going to pay for it all. Yes, what the taxes are going to look like. But when we come back, we'll have Dan the Man. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour, Double J and Dan the Man. I'd like to welcome all three new listeners today. Dan told me that he had texted his friends that he was going to be on. So all three of you guys, hey, thanks a lot for tuning in. Dan, let's talk about. You guys didn't close your school. You've stayed open the whole time, and you're kind of telling me different rules and whatnot. But what do you think about what's happened educationally this year?
Well, that's correct. Yes, we didn't close any days. It's kind of tough, seeing all these schools closed down and just thinking about the kids, what they're missing, because it's night and day what I see, when our kids are outside running around playing with each other. You can't play a game of tag online, so it's kind of tough.
Yeah, and then you were telling me, though, your school even had, if a child had it, one of the students, the class that they were in, we closed for 14 days. But other than that, that was it. That was the lone exception there.
Yeah, I believe it was one student that we had, and that's it. Since
you had one,
August. And that was the all the other ones. If it's parent or relative, then they just watch for symptoms and things.
And they didn't do anything right. They didn't freak out and do all this. Everybody's got to stay home, and anyone who had to come in contact with the kid had to stay home, and all that. So none of that stuff.
No, none at all. We just have everybody wearing masks and sanitizing a lot.
Well, you know what's so funny is the CDC. They just came out and said this. If you've taken the vaccine, they now say it's safe for you to be inside with other people. So
wow.
Wow. I mean, think about that. I mean, I've been inside a lot this year, but anyway, they just made that big announcement. Has it been a lost year, you think, for because we both have, so a little history. Dan and I have been friends a long time. My youngest and his oldest are in the same grade, go to the same school, play sports together, and then Dan's got another son that's a junior in high school. And I know both of us kind of share the same feeling that the online version of school there was no learning going on this year, was there? I mean, by and large, I don't want you to put your fellow educators in a bad light because But was there any real learning happening?
Well, online it's kind of tough, especially in my profession. Obviously, I'm a teacher, PE teacher, and coach, so it's tough online.
Yeah, that's pretty hard to pull off, and when we're sitting here and we're thinking about, we're seeing, different states like Arizona, the governor allowed for 100% at the bars and the restaurants. I don't know about spring training. I'm not sure if that's part of it yet or not, but it's something where it seems like the states that are open aren't faring any worse than the ones that are closed. And really, the only difference is all the states that are closed want to move to the states that are open. I mean, really, that's all the only thing that's really happened. And please stop moving here. We've got enough. Arizona is full. I've declared it. We're full. There's no more room. I don't know, but you spend your summers. Now, Dan has like 12 jobs. Okay, we're actually talking about, and I don't know what we got. Oh, because you got a text. You still haven't gotten your $600 yet. Right, but you got a text saying that it's coming, which is kind of odd, isn't it? They're supposed to send these all. The guy's a teacher, okay, so he qualifies, and you're still waiting on that. And I told them, I said, well, you'll get another $1,400 some point. But we were talking about, because I asked them, oh, did you do your taxes? Because I heard a lot of you out there, if you haven't received your money that they said that you were and you qualify to get it, that when you do your taxes, it seems like it magically appears. And I think, don't quote me on this because I don't get it, so I don't know, but don't quote me on this. But I believe if you owe money, they'll just take it off. And then if you don't owe money, they'll add it to your refund. I could be wrong. No matter of fact, scratch that. I don't know. I may have just made that up myself. So please consult your.
So I do know in the letter that I got, if you owe taxes for child support or something like that, they'll take that out for sure.
Oh, so gotcha. So if you owe child support, you don't get your money. Okay, I'm okay with that. That is what it is. But I was like, oh, you did your tax. So then he started talking because he's like, I've got like 10 different 1099s. And he's like, it's so bad. He's an educated guy. He's an educated guy. He educates kids. Yes, he does a PE, but he's the AD. He sets up all this. He's a smart guy. Dan's not a dummy. You can't do your own taxes.
Oh no, and I pay a lot to get them done because I have all those forms to fill out.
So you pay a little. Oh wait, it's one thing if you go in when you just got one. Hey, here's my W-2. Oh wait a minute, you got a W-2 and 1099s. Oh well, you go to a different bid. Right? You're in a different bracket. But I just laugh at all the things you've done. But you have been spending the last several summers being a mountain man.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I enjoy it.
Going out, clearing land, right? Getting your bug out place ready to rock and roll. I know this. If I ever needed it, I would definitely be tagging along. If my family, if we needed to go live in the mountains, I know who I'm hitching my wagon to. But tell us about it. What have you been doing up there?
Well, you're welcome to come whenever that day comes. We're gonna hit the trail together, Joe. So yeah, I've just been going back. I had land out there that's hasn't been developed at all, and I decided to start making it a place where I can actually enjoy the time I'm spending there. And it was basically just woods. So for 65 days, I cut down trees and found my property lines, and I lost 25 pounds. So that's a new fad workout program, I guess. It works.
You got to start doing that too. Is that going to be another 1099?
Yeah, I was a trainer before. So I did that.
Clearing the land workout with Dan the Man.
I think so. It works.
But right now you got a camper out there.
Yeah, I drove my camper, a pop-up camper there last summer, and I just got a picture of it the other day, and it's under 17 inches of snow. So that's kind of why I live in Arizona now.
Right. So you spend your winters and whatnot, your school year here, and then you go back to Pennsylvania there. Now, you built a whole water system.
I started to do the rainwater collection, yes. I just got to tweak a couple things here and there. I started on the solar. I got a couple solar panels that I hooked up to my batteries so I don't have to run the generator to charge the batteries. So, yep, rainwater collection, solar.
What's been the hardest thing? Yeah, because you see it on TV, right? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like building off the grid and building Alaska, I watch all that crap. Right, and I'm just, and here's the realities. I can't do any of it. Okay, I mean, I want to do it, but then it's a lot. Number one, it's way too much work. Right? I'm like, yeah, I like watching other people. And of course, they make it seem so simple and easy, and oh yeah, it's great and wonderful. And obviously, we know it's not. But what's the hardest part?
I would say just getting the, start finding a plan. I think there's so many different options when you have, I have 10 acres there. So it's like I have a plan set, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this here and put this here. When I first went out there, I had, a spot just from the aerial view of where I'm going to put my camper and where I'm going to drive the truck, and then that just got washed away. So so
you had it all set up, and this is good for everybody, right? You had it all set up, and then it happened to be a wet season. It rained more than usual, and you figured out the great area that you had picked out. Yeah, it can flood out.
It was like a river. Yeah, it was.
So you had to start over.
Uh-huh. Yep, and that's the fun part about it, though. You learn from your mistakes. You don't make mistakes, you're not learning, right?
So you picked out a better place,
yeah, yep,
a higher ground.
Yeah.
So let that be a lesson to everybody out there. I kind of already knew that one, so maybe the smart thing that I was telling you about, not so much. I don't know, but. He actually is one of the things, too, now, we've talked about this. You've got a friend, another educator, who wants you to start a business.
Yeah.
An adult party business. And I don't mean, naked, nude. No, that's not what I'm talking about. You have a party, and you call Dan, and he brings his whole
backyard.
His backyard, essentially. Dan has made, from targets to I don't even know how many different games he's invented in his backyard. Most of it, I've thrown axes, knives, crossbows. I played tug of war. You had a parachute thing. I don't even know what to call it. All these activities that his friend thinks he can make a business by, people are like, hey, we're having a party and Dan the Man's coming and we're going to do all these fun, stuff that, that would be fun when you were younger.
Yeah, I don't think you ever get too old to play with the, tug of war or, everybody loves playing parachute. Go under the tent. That's like camping anyway. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm working on it, but that's another W-2 I'm going to have to fill out.
Hey.
I do. I mean, I can roll it in my truck. It's something I may.
He has very interesting things when we're over there. He'll go into his garage. In his garage, it's a pretty neat setup. He likes to collect things. He's got an organ in his garage, seating in there. But then he'll go into the cupboard. You never know what he's going to pull out. He's got all kinds of, like the old PE games. He's got them all. I mean, I'm pretty sure he can do what do you call it? The dancing, the square dancing, right? You got that too.
I need a mic for the. Yeah, actually, I do have the mic. So, do si do.
Do see do, do see do. Anyway, you're listening to the Patriot Trading Group, Patriot Radio News Hour. I know we're kind of having a little fun here on a Monday, but like I said, I needed those 3 new listeners. So
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you
yeah.
very much.
And when we get back, though, we'll talk some news. We'll get Dan's spin on what's happening out there right now. Wall Street very excited about the $1.9 trillion. The rate hikes continue. The 10-year note above 1.6 this morning. The Eurozone, their central bank, they made everybody mad because they've been buying less bonds. And again, at a time when supply for the United States has gotten significantly greater. So we'll talk about that and what comes next. And then if anybody knows, and I guess I'll Google. You know what? I won't ask you yet because I think I can Google it and find my answer. But when we get back, we'll talk about the $1.9 trillion. The vote was 50 to 49. One Republican decided not to vote at all, which I don't understand. Right? I obviously probably knew, well, we're not going to win anyway. So I'm not going to vote. Now, I don't know if it was because he wanted to protest it or what, but 50-49. So get ready. The inflation is here and going to get worse. We'll be right back. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour here on this Monday. The Dow is up almost 500 points. The NASDAQ's still negative, but the Dow's up 500 points as the Senate has passed stimulus. They did it over the weekend. The vote was 50-49. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Because, we know it was going to be 50-50 and Kamala Harris was going to come down from wherever she is and make it so the Democrats win. And so I was wondering, they never said like on the news, like so-and-so refused to vote or something like that. You didn't hear it. It happened to be Dan Sullivan was the senator that didn't vote, and it was a family emergency that prevented him. So he had to leave the Capitol on Friday. Whatever that emergency was, I hope everything's okay. But that's why it was 50-49, and I think at that point everyone kind of knew it was going to happen. Joe Manchin, the senator from West Virginia, has become a pretty important person. So he seems to be the guy that holds out, if you will, on the Democrats. So, my brother lives in West Virginia, and he actually knows Joe Manchin quite a bit because my brother, like I said, he's in TV, works for Gray Communications. The station that they own in Huntington is like the biggest, baddest, most profitable station they have because everybody only watches that station, apparently. It's one of those weird ones where the competition isn't so great and they have the like 80% market share or something like that. And when before he became an executive, he was running the station there. And Joe Manchin they were at some event and Joe Manchin was yelling at my brother. And my brother just looks at him and goes, I just met you. Why are you yelling at me? And he goes, because I want to get on the air. And my brother goes, there's other stations in town. My brother's, he's, he knew this guy's yelling at him. And Joe Manchin, without missing a beat, goes, nobody watches those stations. And that was it. Him and my brother have been friends ever since. And my brother put him on the air, and they go to these events all the time. And they see each other at the airport. They sit, next to each other on the plane quite a bit. So he knows him very well. And I guess it doesn't change anything. But my brother said, if you, I guess, some bright news. He's a gun owner. Okay, so he's not in line with the Democrats on guns, and he's not an abortion guy. He's a pro-life guy. So there are a few good things about the senator from West Virginia. Now, my brother said, no, don't get me wrong. He's going to vote with the Democrats, but first he's going to make sure they give West Virginia a little extra something. So anyhow, I just thought that was I was talking to my brother this weekend, and he was telling me that story. He goes, I just got the job there, and I'm at it was like the West Virginia Broadcasters Association meeting, something like that, and here's this Joe Manchin. Now, at the time, he was not the senator then. So just a little perspective, and I forget what he was, but he was something in politics, what have you. And the family there, I guess, is one of the legendary families in West Virginia. And he told me that story, and I just laughed. He goes, this guy just starts yelling at me. I don't know this guy. Why are you yelling at me? So as soon as Manchin had the good answer. So there's anyhow, I thought I'd share that with all of you. The stimulus did pass 50-49, only because one of the Republican senators had a family emergency. Otherwise, Kamala Harris would have come down. Are you worried at all about how this is all going to go? I mean, we know, and I've told you, so much of this $1.9 trillion is just bailouts. Pension bailouts for cities, states, different unions. A lot of the money is Dan, at a school that really never closed, going to all these schools so they can reopen. And the answer really is every school in the country could be open right now, period, if they want it to be. Right? When, this is, we're still... I still want to believe we're the greatest country on earth. And when there's a will, there's a way type of a thing. And to see what's happened in all of these places, and really when you look at it and when you follow the money, how much of the money is going to the states that closed instead of the states that stayed open. And quite honestly, let's face it, none of the math adds up. Right? If this actually had worked, you should see the states that stayed open should have double, triple, because you got to do everything by percentage of population, right? Double and triple. It didn't work that way. None of that worked that way. But are you worried about taxes? Dan, do you think we're going to pay a lot more next year, the year after, or you think we're just going to keep racking up the debt? And it's, as Dan said this morning, what did you tell me about the debt this morning? What did you say? Do you remember?
Yeah, 1 trillion, 2 trillion, 30 trillion. It's the numbers really, they're all trillions.
It's just the number. And then he said to me, he goes, because Dan, he listens to my show and then goes to work, but he says, when you start saying quadrillion, then I'll get. Then I'm going to get. This is what he said to me. Then I'm going to get nervous.
Yeah, I guess that's by that time I'll be living in Pennsylvania on my land anyway. So
there you go. Right?
Bug out.
Yeah, come find me if you can. Right? I can. You probably have that thing booby trapped and everything else over there. I know how you are.
I got a couple high ground spots to watch over. So.
Well, anyhow, this is how Wall Street's reacting. The bond market today, as we've been watching, 1.6. Is it on its way to 2? I don't know. Jay Powell last week almost defiant in trying to pretend that they haven't caused any of this. Do you remember what he said about inflation last week? Now, 3 weeks ago, there was no inflation, right? It's all deflation and blah, 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 and we just can't get 2%. And, of course, 2% the way they do math. Right now, granted, their math, nobody in the whole world uses. but this is the math they use. Last week he said, okay, yeah, there's going to be inflation, but it's only going to be temporary. We'll see how temporary that's really going to be. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. I will tell you our call with the Bullion Bank today did not go well. We asked if he had any gold at all. The answer was no. We asked, do you have any junk silver at all? The answer was no. Then we asked, how about silver eagles? And then we got a different answer. It was not yes, by the way. No. It was still no. But it was no with a caveat. I refused to pay what they were asking for them. And I was afraid because the Bullion Bank, when you talk about personality, let's just say he's on the exact opposite spectrum of me. Okay, so number one, he mumbles. You can't understand anything he says. He never. He almost whispers on the phone. So when he talked in a voice where I didn't have to strain to hear him, it's almost like I'm like, dude, stop yelling. Yeah, calm down. And yeah. The price for silver eagles, he could have bought them. He could have. And refused to do it. And I want to say it was like $8.50 over spot was what they wanted him to pay. So he said, not doing it. So anyhow, premiums, listen to this, gold's down 20. And my price is the same as it was on Friday. Silver's actually really just not up or down. It's just at 25. But again, no price changes. There is no product. I mean, it's so funny when you look at what the price, quote unquote, price discovery Wall Street says in versus actuality. I'll give you another example. Friday, I rent out. So my office here in Phoenix, I have a big shop in the back. And I think a lot of you know Eric used to do his cars back there. I rent it out to a car guy. And him and his brother, they run a little used car place. Up here in the North Valley, they're everywhere. They're a dime a dozen. But I bought a car from Brittany's bought a car from Arlene, Brooke. I mean, it's kind of funny. All four of us that work here have done it. But it was empty. And so I was like, whoa. I got worried. I'm like, uh-oh, is he trying to tell me he doesn't want to rent my space anymore, right? So I walked down. Their office is like 4 doors down. And I walk in and I started talking to him. I'm like, hey, what's going on? He goes, I can't get any cars. He goes, this is how bad it's gotten just in the course of a few weeks. He goes, last Monday, they took like 8 cars to the auction. And these are cars they had for sale on their website. Every one of them brought $1,000 to $2,000 more than what they were asking retail on their website. Then he takes me to his back room, and he's got this 350 dually back there. And it looks nice, and it's older. It's probably a 15-year-old dually. Really nice shape. And he goes, we sold this to a guy in Pennsylvania. Of all places, right? All places, 3 weeks ago. And he goes, but it's hard to get a transport. Right? And most guys, it's too big, right? I can get 2 cars instead of one, that type of a thing. And he goes, I'm thinking about giving this guy his money back. He goes, because I can sell this thing for $4,000 more today. And then he said about, because the dealerships, they can't get the chips to make enough cars and trucks and all that stuff. They go, yeah, they've got nothing. Like, dealers are getting their shipments in, and they're already sold. They just don't have any inventory, which means, there's no used car inventory. But he said to me, he goes, just throw the blue book out. And I feel like that's kind of what's here, like with gold and silver. Right? You got to throw the blue book out. He goes, yeah, if blue book says it's 10 grand, he goes, I promise you it's at least 15. And he goes, and maybe 20. And this is kind of happening all over the place. And I promise you this, I know the Federal Reserve, they're going to use the blue book price, even though that price, nobody can buy it for that price, but that's the price they're going to use. And I was sitting there, me and Dan were talking. We were talking about gas, and Dan's like, yeah, I always only get gas at Costco, and he goes, and even there, it's crazy what gas prices have done. There was an oil attack in Saudi Arabia again over the weekend. Not NYMEX, but Brent crude hit $70 a barrel over the weekend. And, Dan, I hate to tell you, I think $100 a barrel oil may be back. We may be looking at, forget about $3. We could be looking at $4 a gallon again. How does that?
That's why I got solar panels in Pennsylvania.
There you go,
I
right?
have to run my generator.
So, very, very interesting. The similar thing that's happened in automobiles, the exact same thing is happening in the gold and silver market, where the book is wrong. Right? What the book says isn't what the price is. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. Final segment on a Monday, kind of a different show, a weird show. We got my buddy Dan here, and it's one of those things where, as a guy in the gold and silver, I hate this because it just makes no sense. How can, let's face it, since the beginning of the year, they've been pounding gold, silver, right? There's been no silver for like a year. And yet they're trying to say this is the price. And then I tell you, the bullion bank refused to buy silver today. The mint for the first time said, yep, hey, we're ready now. And it's so funny because the last customer from January, back when I was telling, remember I said, hey, there's got to be a month, finally got delivery, the very last one. And now today I hear, oh, yeah, I could get them, but I wasn't going to pay that. I'm not paying that. When you think about price discovery being broken on Wall Street, and it gets frustrating because it's, hey, if the price goes down, you want to be able to pass the savings. Hey, it's less expensive today, right? That's how it's supposed to work. Now, the price goes down. Remember, what was it? I think it was Thursday or Friday. Silver fell $1. And the prices went up $2. How does that work?
I'm not a math teacher.
Well, you know what? That's probably what the kids learned online this year, right? Right? That's probably what happened. So, in any event, I put out all the calls on all the feelers, and what you go out to allamericangold.com, hit the shop button. You'll see the deals out there. They're the same as I had last week. I apologize. I'm doing the best I can do. I'm doing everything I possibly can do to find product and deliver product at reasonable prices. And right now, it's just not happening. I guess I did feel a little better after talking to Cliff about cars. and I didn't even say anything about it. And he's just like, "Oh, it's ridiculous. Just take the blue book, throw it out the window. The cars are selling for thousands and thousands of dollars more than that. So I guess we can pretend there's no inflation if we use fake prices, right? And that's what we've got right now. We've got fake prices in the paper markets. We got fake prices in the real estate and the car markets, and of course the central bank trying to tell us, oh, don't worry, inflation's it's going to be temporary. Yeah, for a guy like Dan who works on a teacher's salary, does that make you feel any better, Dan? That it's only going to be temporary?
No, not at all. I'll just have to find another job.
Yeah. He's going to have to get another 1099 job. So there you have it. 800-951-0592. Gold's at $16.75. Silver's at $25.20. The Dow is, I guess it's mixed. The Dow's up 470. The Nasdaq's down 100. I don't know. Patriot Radio News Hour. Hopefully tomorrow will be better. God bless everybody. Thanks to Dan and his 3 listeners for joining us today. I'll be back with more news tomorrow.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate you having me on today, Joe. Thanks.